Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Foxy Box's map making with Sparks. As you can see, I have fixed the models that were on the armor stands. They lost the models on their heads. That's why they weren't displaying anymore. And this is because in Minecraft 1.11, it turns out that if an item doesn't have a count value, it defaults to a count of 0 and vanishes. This didn't used to be a problem, and in fact it was actually really useful because you could summon an item with a count of 0 and you couldn't pick it up, so you could use it for like displaying things, which is pretty neat. But they've changed that and you can't do that anymore. You can stop people picking up items using the pickup delay value, but hoppers and things will still be able to pick them up, which is a bit unfortunate for more survivally things like Game Mode 4. Anyway, today, oh man, we're going to get a lot done, and we're going to have to get it done. I'm probably going to have to work on this in sort of dribs and drabs, but very exciting. We actually have a guest person co-designing this episode. I'm not quite sure how to word this. What is that model? I don't know what that's supposed to be. Oh, that's the start screen. Yes, Lenoodlesoup, who's doing the music for this, is going to actually kind of do part of this episode with me. He's going to do the music for this beginning cutscene, and he's going to kind of show his creation process for writing music for games. So we'll see that later in the episode, but first of all we actually have to create the scene that he is going to write the music for. So we're going to do that here. Now the audio that we recorded last episode, that's what we're going to be rolling through to this. So this is the room that we start in, and I want to put the opening cutscene in here. So if you want a reminder of what the dialogue is really like, you can look at the previous episode, but I'm kind of going to be talking through it again here anyway. One thing I've been doing here is these are mushroom blocks, and you cannot place mushroom blocks in survival very easily, so I actually have a little fill clock up there which just finds any diamond blocks and replaces them with these just for building purposes. And you can see that they're textured to look like a ceiling below, and walls on the side, and tiled floor on the bottom. So we actually use one block for a lot of things here. So I'm kind of going to lay out. We're going to have to use some models and stuff for this, but it's good because we're going to decorate the room as a result. And we're going to decorate this room to kind of match the dialogue that is going on in the audio. So the first line is, "Okay, kids, settle down and welcome to Invisicorp." So what we're going to do, I think, is we're going to have a calendar on the wall here. We're going to have to model a calendar with the Invisicorp logo sort of on it. So we start off, the screen will just show this sort of calendar with the Invisicorp logo, which will kind of correlate to what the speaker is talking about in his lecture. And we're going to have the camera sort of pan out like this as the dialogue goes on. So the next thing that's basically said is, "Now can anyone tell me what we do here? How about you?" And somebody says, "You sell medicine." So what we want to do then is we want to have some medicine cabinets. Is that clock still going? Guess it is. We want to have some medicine cabinets here, like with some racks of medicine inside or something, right? So that we can sort of say we sell medicine. So these are sort of the finished medicines or things like that here. We'll have to put something. I forgot I did a stone texture. I actually still kind of like it. It looks good. And then it says, "You're pretty close, but we don't just sell it here. We make it. We invent it. We find new ways to keep you and your families healthy and safe. And of course, we also test it carefully to make sure it's the best it can possibly be." So what we're going to do is over here, we're going to put a work surface designed for we'll have petri dishes and what are they called? Microscopes, things like that. I think there's a couple of models people have already made for this, which we can use here. I may also peruse Vanilla Burp's website. She has a model sharing site. I'll need to check with her about how to use permission. This game will have credits, like end credits, that we will use to display information, because a lot of people have actually contributed to this series, which is kind of awesome, to be honest. We can have some overhead cabinets up here as well, leaving space. We could kind of maybe have almost like an extractor fan or something there with cabinets up there. This will be like a workstation then, and then the next bit is what happens if you test it and it doesn't work right? Would the person who tried the medicine be okay? It's a very good question. Science has provided a very good answer. So what I'm Okay, yeah. Science has provided a very good answer. So while that is going on, this camera is going to be sort of panning across this workstation. And then the next line is, we don't test them on humans at first, we use animals. In the early history of medicine, we used regular mice, rats, and other mammals, as well as apes and monkeys, though those last two were banned pretty quickly, as they were deemed too human for early testing. No, science has let us create brand new animals from nature's existing ones, specifically designed for testing medicines without us humans having to worry about testing going wrong and hurting someone. So, through the course of that, we're going to have the camera show the cages for the first time, which will be, I'm going to try and work out how to make these look darker on the inside so that you can't really see in. They're just sort of dark, dingy cages. We'll put some clipboards on here that kind of, with just oh, they're kind of floating in front of the slabs. Okay, that's fine. We're going to be using custom models anyway. I'm just using item frames as indicators. And I'm thinking on the wall here, we can have a what's it called? Somebody did a drawing, like a Darwinian drawing of man that was sent into space, where he's kind of like got different movements and stuff. If we have something similar to that, but with like Fox diagrams, so kind of skeletal body design, that's going to be a bit tricky to draw. I think I'm going to have to find an artist to do that potentially. So we've got a calendar, we've got a workstation, we have a sort of a anatomy chart. That's what I'm talking about, I think, on the wall here. It's nice and big. So when it says we use animals, we can kind of show that for the first time. And then as they continue talking, the camera can pan around like this to the doors and then finally show the cages. And I think we can then basically have, because we want as he's saying, in a few minutes we'll be stepping through these doors on our tour of our facilities. I hope you're ready, because behind these doors, that's where the magic happens. I'm not quite sure what we're going to do then, because it would make sense to kind of just have the camera then pan through these doors and then have the operating theatre say opposite here that Reposer is in. But I'm a little concerned that by doing this, it's almost as if it might feel too much like it's a narration instead of a talk. So really, what we kind of need is a very quick scene cut. I'm not sure how to do this, because I kind of want to show the auditorium with all the people in it, but I also kind of don't want to build an auditorium full of people, because that's going to be very difficult and time consuming. And I need to fix this. Hang on, let me try fix this. Okay, thinking about it, I think just so that we actually make some progress here, and because I think it's going to be clear as long as we edit the sound right, which is something that Noodles is going to do, like the voice audio. It can be clear that the audio is coming from a room that is larger than this one, that it's more of an auditorium style thing, and we can hopefully use that to make it clear that it is a class being talked to. We could even change the dialogue up slightly if we wanted to, but I think it should be okay. So what we're going to have is the camera will pan around to the cages, and then it'll curve back round, go through this door, and then this room we will change up so that it is the hinges. I swear the hinges on these doors are in the wrong place. Watch this. See that? The hinges, the texture for the hinge is on the inside of the door almost. It's on the point that it hinges around, not the outside edge. Is that a problem with the regular Minecraft resource pack? But yeah, we'll put the operating theatre in here, and we can always move this this closet space somewhere else if we want to. I don't think there's going to be anywhere in this area that players can walk around. If there were, it'd be kind of neat to have, because I've got a model for open cabinets, to have it so that if the player bumps against them, the cabinet closes. We also seem to have some missing textures in here. Okay, so, whoa, I'm totally lost now. Where the hell am I? Okay. So we're going to go with this. We don't necessarily need to put any models in yet. Let's get started on working out how to actually manage these cutscenes. So I've just had a bit of a go at building an operating theatre here. I've been looking on Google Images at some operating theatres, and the nice thing about them is that they're very sterile and clean, which is great. Now, something interesting is that I had actually been planning to, because I want, once the camera comes panning through here to see Raposa lying here on the, so weird. Minecraft, what are you doing? Look at these. Okay, anyway, see Raposa just lying there on the table. It's going to switch to first-person view, and you're going to be, the camera's going to be Raposa lying on the table. And what I thought I was going to have to do is to actually, I wanted Raposa to be able to sort of look down at her body lying on the table and around the room. And for some reason in my head, I had this idea that this wouldn't work unless I built the entire operating theatre on its side. So like made a copy of this room with the table on the wall and with all the models turned at 90 degrees so it looked like the floor, so that when you're lying on the table you can look down and see your own body and look around like this kind of thing. But thinking about it, I think it's going to make a lot more sense to put them in, just have a model of their body lying here with the camera at the head. Because obviously you can't even see your own body in first-person view. So luckily, it looks like I don't have to build an entire sideways operating theatre here. But again, I've got the very basics of the room laid out here. A lot of operating theatres actually don't have any natural light in them. It's quite dark, but they just have sort of spotlights, like pointed little antenna dish, very directed lighting. So I may actually get rid of these and put some lights in here instead. We'll see, but at least all we really need for now is the layout. I think it'd be kind of nice to have the camera actually zoom through the holes in the windows as well. I also put a little viewing window here because a lot of operating theatres seem to have that, although, you know what, thinking about it, it probably makes sense to have it more or less where the doors are so you can actually see the table properly, but we'll just go with that for now, I think. We can always move the window later. Yeah, okay, so let's get on to the cutscene stuff. Okay, so let's talk about cutscenes. There's a lot of ways that you can do cutscenes, and I've made a decision on how I want to do this, and I'm going to kind of explain my reasoning for using the method that I do. So what we're going to do is a cutscene is going to have an armor stand at the start called cutscene 1, and this is going to be the initialization thing. And we're going to have an armor stand that is the cutscene armor stand that keeps track of the frames in the armor stand. So what we're basically going to have is we're going to have a series of command blocks like this, and each one of these is going to be a frame in our cutscene animation. And then say that in this frame we want to teleport the player. We will get a... Hang on, I need one of these on me. We'll get one of these and we'll put it here. So we'll say in the first frame of the animation, we're going to change the game mode of the player to game mode 3. We're going to teleport them to the correct point in the game. And we are going to, and that's all we're going to do there. Then in the next frame, we're going to teleport the player again. And then in the next frame, we're going to teleport the player again. And then just not in this cutscene, but in future, we might want to teleport the player and teleport another armor stand. So for example, Renard might be moving around on the screen, and this happens to be the frame where his mouth changes shape as he's talking as well. So there'll be 3 there. So we will have a frame armor stand which starts at cutscene 1 and just travels really, really quickly in a straight line in this direction until it reaches the end. And every time it travels, it triggers a command block, which will then have its line run. So the reason I'm doing this is because we can have as many things happening per frame as we need. It's going to be a little tricky in terms of lineup, potentially, to get all of the data, like the teleport coordinates and things in here. So we may end up having what we might end up doing is we'll say this line is reserved for player teleportation, and this line is reserved for Renard's dialogue, and this line is reserved for Renard's position, and then we'll have another we'll say this line is for something else, and then say that there's nothing going on for Renard's mouth in this frame, we'll have a blank command block there, and then we'll fill this here. That way we can easily go, I'm looking for the dialogue for Renard, I'm just going to check this line. I think that's probably how we're going to do it. It's going to be easier for us to see what's going on, to work it out. And we can do quite a few things with a straight line of command blocks. So for example, we could turn a fill clock on, and then at a later frame turn the fill clock back off. Stuff like that. So this, I feel, is going to be very versatile. I've made a dialogue system like this quite recently for a commissioned project, and I feel like this could be the way we can do it. There's lots of ways to do it. Something we can try do, and I don't know whether we might lose frame rate over this, is my dialogue system. In this command block, I actually tell the armor stand how long to wait before moving on to the next command block. So say that we have a pause in our animation where nothing is happening, we can just tell this to wait a certain amount of ticks before moving on to the next one, which will save us space, but I don't know whether checking how long before it needs to move again and moving it can be done in a single tick, or whether that will slow us to half speed, which is not good because we're already working at 20 frames per second here, which is less than ideal because the human eye likes things to be moving at least 24 frames a second for things to appear smooth. So really halving that is a terrible idea. So this is how we're going to do our cutscene. Now let's talk about teleporting the player. So something that we could do, which works really nicely, is you can use a scoreboard. You get the start coordinate and you get the end coordinate and the end rotation and the start rotation, and then you can divide that into increments and work out how much to teleport the player each frame. So you would basically get a repeating command block. What am I doing? Repeating unconditional. We go, and then we go TP at P, and then we would teleport them exactly the right. We'd work out the difference between the two values and teleport them that. So we might move them like 0.01 in the X and 0 in the Y and 0.02 in the Z, and then we can also choose our rotation change. We could go like 0.1 in there. So you can see that we are not moving at all because I need to tick that. There we go. I think I have to give the pitch change as well. There we go. So you can see it's moving us, and that's great. If we're in game mode 3, we have a nice pan, and you can use this to make a really simple, really nice pan. You just count how many frames the player's been doing this for, and go from there. The problem with this is that I can move the camera, and it doesn't care. It continues to twist me, but this only works if the player completely refuses to touch the mouse or the keyboard, and we all know that is not going to be the case. I can fly around while this works. So while it's the most efficient method for this, it is not really suitable for our case, which unfortunately means that every single frame we are going to have to specify the exact coordinate and orientation that the player camera needs to be in, so that if a player moves their camera, it will correct them in the next frame, which will look jerky, but that's their fault for being a jerk and moving the mouse. We will expect players to know to let go of the mouse during a cutscene, I hope, so as to not ruin the experience. So I think the way to do this is going to have to be probably using a sort of a bit of code to generate this for us. So I'm going to have to play around with this a little bit because this is maths or arithmetic or something, and I am out of my depth. So I'm probably going to have to write a little bit of JavaScript where I can put in my end value and my start value, and it generates a one-click code which just places a ton of chain command blocks facing in the right direction with the correct values inside them, and we'll go from there. I will try and make this tool available to people who want to use it afterwards. So yeah, this is why this episode is going to take a little bit of time. Okay guys, so I've written a little JavaScript program here. This uses it sort of works off of the concept I talked about earlier, where you work out the increments to step, which is based on a video by Paddy, I believe he's called. And I've kind of reworked that for this system. So this is a JavaScript program which generates this page here. You put in your start X, Y, Z, your rotation, and then the same for the finish coordinates. You put the amount of time in seconds that you want it to take, your selector, and you click go, and it generates this command here, which we should be able to go into Minecraft now, paste into a command block, and it will put all of these teleport commands in. So you can see one here, teleport at all, and then it puts the exact coordinates for that frame, including the orientation for the player's head, down to a very, very accurate position by calculating it. Alright, so let's do a test here. The coordinates that I put into that program are with me standing here looking at this corner of the block, and ends with me standing about here looking at this corner of the block. And so what we can do is, here's our cutscene line, and we've decided that this line is where we put our player teleportation. So we're going to take a command block and we're going to put it here. So the first command that it places will be right here. We can paste our code in here. I've not actually tried this yet, so hopefully it works first time. And just like a game mode 4 one click, we can do that. There we go. So that is a 2-second animation, theoretically. It's placed them. Let's see if there's actually commands inside. Yeah, we've got a teleport command there, and it seems to be putting 239995. The values seem to be changing in each one. That's pretty promising. So the reason I've done it like this is that, say we wanted to continue this on with a second set of movements, we can now, because of the position that it's spawned relative, we can put this command block on the last one, and it will then place the next one right here in the chain. So that's why I've chosen to put it in the way that it goes. So I can make this available to people if they want it. I'll put it somewhere on my website. If you ask for it, I can put it up if you think you'll find it useful. Be careful when using it, because it does obviously delete blocks in your world. Maybe make a backup the first time you use it. It generates them in the positive X. So what I need to do now is set up a system that actually teleports our frame armor stand along this line and activates each of these in turn, and we will see whether it works. I'm just going to put a load of regular command blocks along here and set up a line to actually run them. Okay, so we have a repeating command block right here, which is constantly checking to see whether the armor stand called frame has got a command block under it, and if it does, then it block datas that command block to have an auto of 1, activating it. If that succeeds, then it basically sets the block data back to off, letting it be being triggered next time round, and then it teleports it 1 block over, and this will repeat until it runs out of command blocks to stand on, and it'll just hang in the air. Currently it's over here, so it's not doing anything because there's no command blocks under it. But so for example, if I was to kind of place this a bit awkwardly, didn't I? I'm assuming it's in this block. If I put a command block here, it should scoot over. Yeah, it did. Great. So if I push this button, it's going to teleport frame to cutscene 1, and we should see myself start to move. Oh my goodness. Awful things are happening. Where am I? My Z is 37,960. Something went wrong. On the bright side, the armor stand is on the end of the line here, so that worked. There's no command in that last one. 14,022. Yeah, where did this number come from? 37,960. 1422. 469 is wrong as well. Is 1422 right? Ish. Should be around over here. 1422 is here. Oh no. This looks about the right distance, but in the wrong direction, interestingly. I bet it has a problem with negative numbers. Although there aren't any negative numbers in the coordinates, only the orientation. Okay, I'm going to have to find out what's wrong then, which means looking at maths. Hooray. Okay, well, I've got good news and I've got bad news. The good news is I fixed the coordinate generator. I was basically subtracting the wrong numbers from each other, like in the wrong order, which I've now fixed. I double-checked the maths that was used in that video and realised what I'd done wrong. The bad news is this. It's a bit jerky. I was testing this at 0, 0. I had a little setup over here, which I was using to test this so I could type the coordinates faster. And over here, it was even worse. And I think that might be because we were in different chunks to the redstone rather than right next to it. So what we may find is when we actually put these coordinates in for the room, it's going to look even jerkier. But even over here, at its best, it's very not smooth. Now, we could try actually slowing down the camera pan. We can say that if we make it move slower, it'll work better. For example, if I slow this down from a 2-second to a 4-second, we might actually see an improvement. Let me just try that. Okay, so let's try this at 4 seconds and see how it looks. It feels a bit better. Honestly, it is still a bit jerky. Now, what I'm wondering is if this is a cause of this method, whether teleporting our armor stand and running it off the stand is what's causing the issue. I kind of want to compare this now to using a different method, using a delayed method where you kind of put a 1-tick delay into the clock. So that's one frame, and then the next frame starts here, kind of thing, so that each one of these is a tick, which would involve no entities at all. It takes up a lot more space, though. But I'm just wondering whether it's the fact that we're teleporting an armor stand around rather than doing it via a scoreboard or something that's causing a problem. Oh, and just to show, of course, this method, I can move the mouse around, but it corrects it when I do, and I can try and fly away, and it will just put me back where it's supposed to go. So at least it solves that problem. Oh, I think I've worked something out here, guys. All right, so this would be a way of doing a purely command block based delay, but shrinking it down so that each tick is still one column. So basically this command block here, the first one has nothing in it, but it powers this here, which sets the block data of the next one to 1, and also runs this chain, which then has all of your frame stuff on it. Then this one in the next tick sets its block data back to 0, powers this one down here, which then sets the next one across to 1, etc. So I think this method, which if I click it, I'll show you, it seems to output 3 frames in 3 ticks. I think that's 3 frames in a tick. Actually, let's test this. Let's put this here, say 1, and when we press this, we should see that it goes 1 frame 1, 1 frame 2, 1 frame 3. 1 frame 1, 1 frame 2, 1 frame 3. Great, so that means that it's working once a tick. So this is as fast as it can go, and it's not using an entity. So I'm going to try replacing our armor stand thing here with this, at least temporarily, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, well, I don't know if I'm imagining this, but this seems better. Look. Is it me, or is that smoother? That feels smoother to me. Maybe we should use this method. I think it's double the tile entities, but that's not a huge issue at this point with this kind of game. Players aren't going to be near here anyway when this is running. So maybe we'll go with this. I liked my armor stand thing better because it's easy to add a delay, potentially, but I suppose with this method, at least it's nice and smooth compared to the other one. Okay, fantastic. Which means I don't have to edit my generator either, because this connects to our old line design just fine. So I guess all that's left now is to choose our coordinates and stick them together to make the actual cutscene. And then, man, this episode I know is getting kind of long, but I figure you guys won't mind too much. We'll make it a feature special or something, but I'll put in the coordinates to make the actual cutscene itself, and then we will hand the episode over to Noodlesoup, who will finish off for you guys with some music. Okay, kids, okay. Settle down, and welcome to Invisicorp. Now, can anyone tell me what it is that we do here? How about you?
You sell medicine?
You're pretty close, but we don't just sell it here. We make it. We invent it. We find new ways to keep you and your families healthy and safe, and of course we also test it carefully here to make sure it's the best it can possibly be. Yes. What happens if you test it and it doesn't work right? Would the person who tried the medicine be alright? That's a very good question, and science has provided us with a very good answer. We don't test them on humans at first, we use animals. In the early history of medicine, we used regular mice, rats, and other mammals, as well as apes and monkeys, though those last two were banned pretty quickly as they were deemed too human for early testing. No, science has let us create brand new animals from nature's existing ones specifically designed for testing medicines without humans having to worry about testing going wrong and hurting someone. Now, in just a few minutes, we'll be stepping through these doors on a tour of our facilities. I hope you're all ready, because behind these doors, that's...
Hi, hey, I'm Alex. Alex Bullivant. I do. That was very loud. I apologise. I do music. I'm a composer. Sort of part time in my spare time, as a hobby, you could say, which is probably slightly more accurate. Ignore everything you're seeing here except for what I want to show you. Yes. So, I do music, and at the moment I'm doing music for Foxy Boxes. Which is Sparks' thing. We all know what Foxy Boxes is, which is good because every time I say, "Hey, I'm doing music for this," everyone's like, "What the hell is a Foxy Box?" Now, there should somewhere be the video, and it doesn't seem to be there. So instead, enjoy this hot meme while I try and find it. Oh, it's okay. I found it. It's saved in the temp. It's saved in temp. That's really annoying. Don't ask me again. Okay, so what Sparks wants me to do is explain what the hell, basically. Which is good, because I'm a terrible teacher, so we're just gonna have to... we are just gonna have to roll with this, basically. So, here is... There we go, there's the video player. Now, I have a 3-monitor setup. And the reason I have a 3-monitor setup is because it makes my life so much easier when I'm editing audio. So basically, I'm going to have to try and cram everything onto this one screen. And hope for the best. Now, just some disclaimers before we continue. The way you have to jerry-rig sound to get it to play... Like, to get Bandicam to pick up sound in a digital audio workspace, which is what this is. This is Cubase. I'll go over them shortly. But you got to jerry-rig the sound to get the Bandicam to pick it up. Means that you get some hella long latency. And if you don't know what latency is I press a key, and then, like, the latency is the time it takes for the computer to realise the sound. Usually, Cubase bypasses Windows as a sound thing in general and just goes straight out the interface to the speakers, so you get no latency. Here, however, because it has to go through Windows for Bandicam to pick it up, I'm getting, like, half a second of latency, which doesn't sound very much, but believe me, it is. So if I cock up playing anything, just rest assured that I'm far better at playing music than it's going to seem. Okay, so, is this the first time you guys have seen this this video? It might be.
Okay, kids, okay. Settle down, and welcome to Invisicorp. Now, can anyone tell me what it is that we do here? How about you?
You sell medicine?
You're pretty close.
There's one kid.
But we don't just sell it.
You managed to find one child.
We invent it. We find new ways to keep you and your families healthy and safe.
At some point soon.
We also test it carefully here to make sure it's
basically
the best
Sparks
it can
tries to do a
be.
voice of a child.
Yes. What happens if you test it and it doesn't work right?
Love it. Okay, so what Sparks wants is some kind of
specifically designed for testing
foreboding
without humans having to worry about testing going
thing
wrong and hurting
underneath
someone.
this. So I'm gonna stop Sparks talking while I'm talking because that's going to make life so much easier. What was I saying? I was saying something. I can't remember. So Sparks wants some kind of foreboding nonsense. Which is good. I can do foreboding nonsense. Foreboding nonsense is easy. Now, so... I don't really quite know what he expects me to be saying. Because by and large, my approach to making music has always been, if it sounds good, then it's fine. You know what I mean? I did music technology at college, and I did terribly. I got a terrible grade because I was like, they wanted me to tell them like why I set a compressor in a certain way, or why I EQ'd something in the manner that I did, and I was like, I don't know, it sounded good, which apparently wasn't the answer they were looking for. So right, so this is the sort of the kind of the long-winded part of building a synthesizer. Ooh, what is that? It's like an audio. Kind of. Did I say like an audio? I think I might have done. I don't know. I meant like an organ. I know what I meant. What we're going to learn quite quickly over the course of this video, or section of video, is that I don't actually think much while I talk. So, there might be some cuts. There might be some cuts while I actually work out my instruments. Now, what do we really want? That's the thing. At the moment, and this track that I'm doing now may completely differ from the track that actually plays over the video when we get there. You know what I mean? Like the final track may be completely different to this. Sparks may hear this and go, "Alex, what the hell are you doing? This is terrible." Which is fair enough, because it's happened in the past and he was right. So, right. We got a low pass. Now, see, I like the kind of the wog that's giving off. If I turn down the resonance and bring it back in. And in fact, what I could do is automate that resonance. So it. Ooh. I know what we could do. Right, okay, so, Massive. It's always good to have a synth that you know. Unfortunately, I got Massive quite, a considerable time ago. Not a considerable time ago, hang on. Right, what we're going to do is... No, we want a longer attack. I didn't get Massive that long ago. I got it for Christmas. That's slightly better. Because what we can do is, if we get Massive's reverb, which is actually beautiful, if you want one kind of reverb, is we can automate that with the same envelope. Ooh! Ooh, I like that! I make a lot of noises when I... That's actually really nice. Okay, no, that's our synth. And now we can mess about with this now, and we can mess about this for all eternity, really. Can you hear how that sort of like fizzes? We want that. So what we want is an LFO going to the amp, and where do we start it? It was about there, and it kind of went to there. That's nice. I like that. Okay, so now we just throw some chords into the video, I guess. Now the issue here is that that's an interesting synth sound, and in fact, what I may do is what's the envelope? Okay, so the amp mod up here is always envelope 4 in massive. So everything I've just done, I could like just waste one of these extra envelopes and use them on the amps down here, or alternatively I could go to envelope 4, whack the attack up, because I kind of want this synth to lead in. This may not be the main synth. This is kind of going to be like it's a very bassy pad. And in fact, ooh. That kind of just goes up very, very suddenly. I don't know if I want that much of a release, is the thing. Because it kind of cuts out very, very suddenly, and I'm not entirely sure I like that. We have other options. Okay, right. What might sound good here is it Dimension Expander? I think it's Dimension Expander. What Dimension Expander does is basically just makes things sound better. It just makes everything sound bigger and more stereo and what I was saying before I got sidetracked by myself is the fact that whilst this is an interesting synth sound, I think we all agree, it may be a bit too distracting. So writing music, which is something I do, I'm in a band, writing music for music is an easy process at the end of the day. You're writing a piece of music which is supposed to be appreciated as a piece of music, and nothing else. That's it. Whereas composing, composition and music for film or games or something like that often works best if you can't hear it, if that makes sense. It's like editing in film. If you don't notice the editing, then the editor's done their job properly. You know what I mean? And in the same way, I believe, and I could be wrong, I could be talking out my ass, I don't know. But the way I've always looked at it is, especially if there's speech going on, if you don't notice the ambient music, if it just adds to the scene subconsciously, then you've done your job right. This might do that, this might not. Let's find out.
Okay, kids, okay. Settle down, and welcome to Finalizing.
We're going to turn that down. Okay, I'm going to introduce you guys to the audio mixer, which perpetually lives on the other screen. This is going to be very annoying for me. Audio mixer is beautiful in Cubase. I love it. It's so easy to use. I'm just going to...
Physical. Now, can anyone tell me what it is that we do here? How about
There
you?
we go.
You sell medicine.
You're pretty close, but we don't just...
Okay. Yes, no, that sounds like it could work.
Okay, kids, okay. Settle down, and welcome to Invisicorp. Now, can anyone tell me what it is that we do here? How about you?
You sell medicine.
You're pretty close, but we don't just sell it here. We make it. We invent it. We find new ways to keep you and your families healthy and safe. And of course, we also test...
That's kind of that's a nice foreboding thing. Okay, what chords were it? That one's good. That's good. Okay, so there. Okay, we'll use that as a chord progression, and then if I decide it sounds terrible, which I'm beginning to think it does, we can use the other thing, which is fine. So, okay.
Okay, kids, okay. Settle down, and welcome to Invisicorp. Now, can anyone tell me what it is that we do here? How about you?
You sell medicine.
You're pretty close, but we don't just sell it here. We make it. We invent it. We find new ways to keep you and your families healthy and safe. And of course, we also test it carefully here to make sure it's the best it can possibly be. Yes. What happens if you test it and it doesn't work right? Would the person who tried the medicine be alright? That's a very good question. And science has provided us with a very good answer. We don't test them on...
Okay, so we've got that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go into this thing here. We'll get rid of the video player. We don't need that right now. This is relatively new to me. So this is the MIDI editor thing. We're going to introduce you to Quantize. It does things. What Quantize does is I press Q and any mistakes I make get ironed out pretty much. Okay, so we're going to want to bring these back here.
Okay, kids, okay. Settle down and welcome to Invisicorp. Now, can anyone tell me what it is that we do here? How about you?
You sell medicine.
You're pretty close, but we don't...
So what I'm listening for here is just changes, like appropriate beats in the video. And in fact, what may be of use is if I actually watch it and watch for any changes in scene. This is the boring part. This is
kids, okay.
This is kind of like just working out what you want to do.
Now, can anyone tell me what it is that we do here? How
I
about
like
you?
it as it pulls
You
out.
sell medicine.
You're pretty close.
And as it
but
starts
we
to
don't
move,
just sell it here. We
as it
make
starts to sort of pan
we
back,
invent it. We find new ways to...
because it's pulling back here, and then as we move
What about
from
you?
there,
You sell medicine.
it'll make
You're
sense.
pretty close.
As
but
it starts
we don't
moving to the
just sell
left,
it here.
you
We
change
make
note,
it. We invent it.
which is
We
good.
find new
Going back to what I was saying about if you don't notice the music, then you've kind of done your job right. One of the easiest ways to hide cuts in music is to do it on the beat of an edit, if that makes any sense. Like as it moves, change the chord. The brain's like, yeah, that makes sense. I could work with that.
ways to keep you and your families healthy and safe. And of course, we also test it carefully.
Now the thing about
Medicine.
You're pretty close,
jumping in and out
but we don't
is
just sell it
it'll
here.
start
We
that
make it.
curve. What curve is he on about, you may ask? So this the envelope 4 down here, this sort of thing that looks like a ramp, like a skateboard ramp or something, is basically telling it's telling the synthesizer how I want the sound to come in. So you can hear it ramps up, and then tables across, and then cuts out. On release, it's just a very fast release. Where if I start this from the start,
Okay, kids, okay.
it'll do
Settle
that.
down.
It'll do that
Welcome.
perfectly fine. If I also drop this in halfway,
How about you?
it'll start it from there. So when this
You're pretty
changes,
close, but we
it
don't
doesn't
just
sound like it's
sell it
going to
here.
sound, which is kind of annoying. But if
We
you
make
know
it. We
if you know what it
invent
should sound like,
We find new
probably
ways to
fine.
keep
Or if you give it enough
and your
time to
families
play out.
healthy and safe. And of course, we also test it carefully here to make sure it's...
Now that was a very harsh stop. That's because I'm one man and I only have so many
We
hands.
find new ways to keep you and your families healthy and safe. And of course, we also test it carefully here.
So what I may do there is I'm also a terrible pianist if we're learning from these chords. I'm just kind of making it up as I go along. So
You're pretty close, but we don't just sell it here. We make it. We invent it. We find new ways to keep you and your families healthy and safe. And of course, we also test it carefully here to make sure it's the...
right, okay. So that's kind of better. Where do we change? Where do we change beat? What could be interesting? Okay, so there's no real editing changes there. So what I might do is try and aim it more for when Sparks changes a sentence, or maybe if the kid starts talking, we'll do it
We
then.
make it. We invent it. We find new ways to keep you and your families healthy and safe.
Ooh, okay, right. No, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have it change on safe. The idea behind that, and please stop me if I'm being a pretentious ass, which is all the time, might I add. If we change it on safe to like a more discordant chord, it if we change it on that, then the brain may, hopefully, hear safe, but also hear that discord. And the juxtaposition in the brain might make you feel a bit more uneasy.
But we don't just sell it
Or I
here.
could be wrong.
We make it. We invent it. We find new ways to keep you and your families healthy and safe. And of course, we also test it carefully here to make sure it's the best
kind
it
of.
can possibly.
Really, it will work more on the word healthy, because it's a harsher word. Like safe, especially with like Sparks's beautiful mellow tones. Safe is a really nice word.
We invent it. We find new ways to keep you and your families healthy and safe. And of course, we also test it
yeah, no, that's
carefully.
better. The H, the H is a much harsher tone to do that on. And that's basically my life from here on out.
Close. But we don't just sell it here. We make it. We invent it. We find new ways to keep you and your families healthy and safe. And of course, we also test it carefully here to make sure it's the best it can possibly be. Yes. What happens if you test?
Need to change that. Okay. Do you see what I mean about the massive reverb though? Like if I turn the reverb off like that, and then we play it.
Okay, kids, okay. Settle down, and welcome to Invisicorp. Now, can anyone tell me what it is that we do here?
Took a
How
break
about
for a
you?
drink.
You sell
Flawless, and then turn it back on.
You're pretty close, but we don't just sell it here. We make it. We
You get that
invent
kind of
it.
like
We find new ways to
wobbly
keep you and your families healthy and
detuning
safe.
effect, and it's lovely. Oh, we haven't saved this yet. Jesus. Okay. Sporks. Map. Video. Thing. Now, in the real world, you'd actually give it a proper name and adhere to file structure, but I'm playing up for the internet, so I guess that's just what this is called now. Initially, I was thinking we might need something like drums. But with the latency, that's awful, jeez. Oh, God. Have you ever played the Whisper Challenge? Like where you, or not the Whisper Challenge, that thing, the app where you put headphones on, and it plays what you're saying back to you, but like half a second later, and your brain's like, what the hell is going on? I don't know how to process this, and then you just shut down. That's basically what trying to play MIDI drums with latency is, because you're like, I've pressed it, my brain does not work. What the hell? This is another reason why this is kind of a very floaty track, and why it's got like a really slow ramp up, a slow attack. Is because I can press the keys, and then like by the time my brain's caught up with the key press and the actual start of the note, it's fine. Which again makes sense in my head and makes sense if you understand music. And I apologize if you don't understand music, but or have no interest in it, which is fine. But to be fair, you wouldn't have got this far in. This is an episode in itself. By this point,
you and your families healthy and safe.
Sparks is basically making a short
To
film.
make sure it's the best it can possibly be. Yes. What happens if you test it and it doesn't work right? Would the person who tried the medicine be all right? That's a very
Okay, no, right. So a similar thing over here.
you and your families healthy and safe. And of course, we also tested.
So healthy and safe. Now that's clearly a lie. And as we do that, it changes down from
We
this
find new ways to keep you.
sort of. I mean, that's still a minor chord, I think. I know nothing about music theory. My entire musical career has been me blindly fumbling my way through and just kind of getting
You
lucky.
sell medicine.
You're pretty close, but we don't just sell it here. We make
It's
it.
less of a
We
minor
invent
chord.
it. We find new ways to keep you and your families healthy and safe. And of course, we also
Right, so it's your family's healthy and safe, and then it changes down to this really discordant thing, and it's awful.
tested carefully here to make sure it's the best.
And it's a lie, and you feel bad, and you feel like it's a lie. And then
work right. Would the person who tried the medicine be all right? That's
the innocence of the child comes back in. And again, this is going to sound so pretentious, but this is my thought process. And we're creating art here, so you've got to be pretentious. Art without being pretentious is like pasta without I don't know. You see where I was going there? Like they go hand in hand. Anyway, so the kid talks. It's the innocence. The innocence comes back in, and the kid's like, "Oh, but if it backfires, they're okay, right?" They're not, but the childish innocence comes back in.
The person who tried the medicine be all right? That's a very
And it kind of
question.
looks back up again.
And
The music
science-
swells back up. That's nice. I like that. Where does he start talking?
B. Yes. What happens if you test it and it doesn't work right? Would the person who tried the medicine be all right?
That kind of works. I think it needs to go back this way a bit. And again, we are literally just questioning by this point. Oh, in fact, what we could do is just extend this note all the way across. That'll make the join seem less, and indeed that one as well. It'll just make the join seem less abrupt. And again, if we're looking to sort of reflect the childish innocence of the question, then having a less abrupt change would be good.
B. Yes. What happens if you test it and it doesn't work right? Would the person who tried the medicine be all right? That's a very good question. And science has provided us with...
No, that's an awful chord all of a sudden. What the hell have I done? What would sound nice? To be fair, listening to that, nothing's really going to sound nice. We just stick some ring mod on this.
What happens
I'll
if you
explain
test
that in a
it and it
second.
doesn't work right? Would the person who tried the medicine be all right? That's a very good question. And science
That's
has provided us
so-
with a very good answer. We don't
That's
test
so foreboding. I love it, but it's not working. It's not. That could work. What's
Might
this
the
like?
medicine be all right? That's a very good question. And science has provided us with a very good answer.
Yeah, no, I like that. That functions.
B.
That does what it should
yes.
do.
What happens if you test it and it doesn't work right? Would the person who tried the medicine be all right? That's a very good question. And science has provided us with a very good answer. We don't test them on humans.
It's like a it's like a tape machine gone wrong, which interestingly is one of the things I have to do next. Instantly thought maybe not ring mod. Ring mod. So what you can do with this kind of thing is we've got these pitch controls here. So you control slight amounts of pitch. You can do whole tones, parts of tones. We're doing parts of tones here. If we do that...
Okay, kids, okay. Settle down, and welcome to Invisicorp. Now, can anyone tell me
slightly out of
what
tune.
it is that we do here? How about you?
You sell medicine.
I mean, it was
You're
kind of
pretty
detuned
close,
anyway.
But we don't just sell it here. We make it.
But even more so there. And again, there's another reason why I think the ring mod probably isn't worth our time. But anyway, on a synthesizer which isn't automatically detuning anyway, you can have you can slightly detune things, and you get these really kind of weird plays with everything. Like pianos. Pianos are never in tune because tuning a piano is actually impossible. I'm trying not to swear because this isn't my channel. Trying to tune a piano is impossible. Pianos are never in tune, and what gives a piano character is the slightly detuned notes, and you can get a very similar thing with synthesizers. Ring mod basically does that anyway.
We invent it. We find new ways to keep you and your families healthy and safe. And of course, we
You
also
can
test
hear
it
that.
carefully here to make sure it's the best it can possibly be. Yes. What happens if you test it and it doesn't work right? Would the person who tried
It's
the
kind of
medicine be
like-
all right? That's a
It
very-
really it weirds out the sound a bit. I don't think we want that. I don't think we want that at all. Okay, so we've got a low pass. Is there anything else we can do on here? Stick a screen filter
Very
on.
good question. And science
Why
has
not?
provided us with a very good answer. We don't test them on humans at first. We use animals. In the early history of medicine, we used
It's like a
regular
train
mice,
pulling
ants,
out in
and
the
other
distance.
mammals, as well as apes and monkeys. Though those last two were banned pretty quickly, as they were deemed too human.
Ooh, although
Okay, kids, okay. Settle down, and welcome to Invisicorp. Now, can anyone tell me what it is that we do here? How about you?
You sell medicine.
You're pretty close, but we don't just sell it here. We make it. We invent it. We find new ways to keep you and your families healthy and safe. And of course, we also test it carefully here to make sure it's the best it can possibly...
if I put Do I want envelope 4? No, it's envelope 1 on the everything else. What's envelope 1 looking like? Envelope 1, I don't think we want. I think we want envelope 4 on this. And then...
Yes. What happens if you test it and it doesn't work right? Would the person who tried the medicine be alright? That's a very good question. And science has provided us...
It's just kind of some weird bullshit going... Oh, I did it again. I'm going to have to cut these out. I apologise, Sparks. I'm besmirching the good name of your channel. Curve select. We could have like a random step going at a rate of slow, which is the technical term. Ooh, we could have steps! No, we won't. That's too much effort. As far as I'm concerned. Try that.
We don't test them on humans at first. We use animals. In the early history of medicine, we used regular mice, rats, and other mammals, as well as apes and monkeys. Though those last two were
I
banned
tell you
pretty
what.
quickly, as they were deemed too human for early testing. Okay, kids, okay. Settle down, and welcome to Invisicorp. Now, can anyone tell me what it is that we...
And again, right, okay, so I like noise. I like noise rock as a genre. So stuff like this actually really makes me happy, just like making noises that kind of work. And in fact, if we take that off...
How about you?
You sell medicine?
You're pretty close, but we don't just sell it here. We make it. We invent it. We find new ways to keep you and your families healthy and safe. And of course, we also test it carefully here to make sure it's the best it can possibly be.
That's actually better than just having envelope 4 on residence. Okay, it's a subtle one. It's a subtlety. If we get the thing back up, we just shut Sparks up for a second and play this. That's so good! That's such a nice sound now I've EQ'd the bass out. Okay, no, right, we can work with this. I want Sparks back. There we go.
Okay, kids, okay. Settle
Don't
down.
we all?
And welcome to Invisicorp. Now, can anyone tell me what it is that we do here? How about you?
You sell medicine?
You're pretty close, but we don't just sell it here. We make it.
Ooh, I
We
like that.
invent
Gives me the
it.
chills. Okay, if it gives you the chills, you've done your job right, basically. And yeah, that's a very, very, very brief overlook at just the kind of stuff that I do. I'm sorry if it's a bit anticlimactic. If you wanted something like the original Foxy Boxes theme, then we're not going to do that. We're not going to go into that. If you want more of this kind of stuff, put it in the comments, and I'll happily, if Sparks wants some stuff like this on his channel again, then whatever. Failing that, I can put it on my own channel if people are that interested. I'm really not fussed. But yeah, that's functionally.
You and your families healthy and safe. And of course, we also test it
I
carefully
mean, it needs some
here to make sure it's
EQing
the
done and
best
all
it
that
can
because
possibly be.
you remember that scream filter that we put the LFO6 on? The resonance on that is the same pitch, the same frequency as Sparks' voice, and it's cutting it out. That is how it works.
Okay, settle down, and welcome to Invisicorp. Now, can anyone tell me what it is that we do here? How about you?
You sell medicine?
You're pretty close, but we don't just sell it here. We make it. We invent it. We find new ways to keep you and your
if we
families
go
healthy and safe. And of course, we
Manny
also
and
test
stereo.
it carefully here to make sure it's the best it can possibly be. Yes. What happens if you test it and it doesn't work right? Would the person who tried the medicine be alright?
And there we go.
That's
It
a very
works.
good
That sounds
question.
really good. I'm happy
And
with that.
science
I'm really happy with
provides
that.
us with a very good
Okay.
answer. We don't test them on
So
humans
yeah,
at
thank you very much.
We use animals.
If you want to hear me get excited about things more, then I'm sure Sparks can tell you where to go. That sounded like a threat. More than anything else, I don't know. I'm Alex. That's how I make the musics. Back to Sparks in the studio.
Alright guys, well that is the end of this extra long special episode co-starring Lenoodlesoup, aka Alex, who very kindly showed a little bit of the sort of process he goes through when creating music. I learned something from watching it, so I thought it was quite interesting. I'd like to include other sort of experts from different areas of gaming in this series. If you people find that would be interesting, as Alex says in his video, let me know in the comments. And of course, if you want to see some more of the music development from Alex, then let me know too. I'm sure that he will be more than happy to arrange something like that. Of course, go check out Alex's channel. He has two. There's a gaming channel, and there's also sort of a more of a music-y one where he does music and sketches. That's definitely worth checking out. So have a look in the description for those. I think that's everything for this video. I wanted to say thanks to everybody who sent in audio for that line, but none of them were quite what I was looking for, I'm afraid. I really appreciate your submissions though, and I'm sure there may be other lines. I'm sure there may be other lines in future coming up for you to contribute to. So next episode we are probably going to be doing some modelling, like actually modelling and fleshing up that room with stuff. And then we will go and change it up a little bit that way. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.